2022 in the NWSL begins tonight from CPKC Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, as the Kansas City Current get ready to take on the Chicago Stars for the second time during this regular season. When you look at the standings, Kansas City clinched the NWSL Shield last week with 5 games still to play. In last place right now is Chicago. They've been playing much better of late, but positions 3 through 8 are separated by just 3 points, and 4 of those teams will be in action tonight. So things could be changing quickly. For the Kansas City Current, this is going to be their first game since clinching the NWSL Shield, so we are expecting them to make some lineup changes for tonight. Rest some players, give some other players an opportunity to play as they try to continue on this record-breaking season. 9 consecutive shutouts, 812 consecutive shutout minutes, 14 total shutouts in 2025, also a league record. Minutes away from the opening kickoff, we will be coming back shortly with starting lineups and the kickoff from Kansas City as first place Kansas City Current take on last place Chicago Stars.
As we honor the legacy of Matt Beard. Thank you. Please welcome tonight's ASL signer, today's national anthem performer, Cindy Mannion.
Welcome back, everyone, to CPKC Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City Current versus the Chicago Stars alongside Marion Crowder. I'm JP Delacamera. Time, Marion, to talk players. Let's start with the great Temwa Shawinga.
Really hard not to talk about Temwa Shawinga when you talk about this Kansas City Current side. And look, she is an intense player on both sides of the ball. And she's got the support cast around her to really help her become this multi-dimensional attacker that we've all come to expect. Tempo is the makeup of this Kansas City Current attack, and Temwa Shawinga brings that tempo in a multitude of ways. Her runs are at speed, her decision-making is done at speed, and the timing of her runs is she gets to start alongside Lola Bonta.
And for the Stars, the player to watch has to be the Brazilian Ludmila, red hot since the return from the international break.
That is the exact phrase, JP. She is playing with tons of confidence, and she can hurt you in a multitude of ways. Off the dribble, shots from distance, set pieces, and getting on the end of service. She is a player that goes strictly off instincts, and as a striker, they're near the best in the league, particularly with her movement as the opposite side winger. What's important tonight is how dynamic she can be on the break, serving as an outlet and ways for them to alleviate pressure at times. And as we take a look at this Chicago Stars lineup, having an outlet is going to be massively important. This Stars side is going to be sitting a little bit lower than usual. Sam Staub is going to be dropping back into her role at center back after spending some time at holding midfielder last week. But the central three for the Stars, it's going to be a flat three of Ali Schlegel, Maitani, and B. Franklin. They're going to try to negate those central spaces and then look to release Ludmila the other way on the transitional moment.
And the Golden Boot race will probably go right down to the wire. Two of the players featured in this game tonight, Shawinga with the 13 goals, Ludmila with 10 is in third place, but Esther also with 13 goals and 1 assist. She is playing for Gotham tonight against Portland, that game kicking off the same time as this one. So standings will change, and maybe the Golden Boot race will change as well as we look at Blatko and Danovsky, second all-time in wins, career wins in this league. His plan, rest some players, rotate some players, but also maintain sharpness with the upcoming playoffs, and that's Anders Jakobsen. He's the fourth person to coach this Chicago Stars team in 2025. He'll be the assistant next year when Martin Sjögren takes over. Sjögren right now coaching in Sweden with Hammarby. Kansas City Current will be in red tonight. Chicago Stars will be in black. Katya Koroleva is the referee, and Mark Verso is VAR. Kansas City with all kinds of numbers going forward, unbeaten in 14, only team yet to lose at home this season. As for Chicago, they were unbeaten in 7 recently until their loss last week versus Houston. Waiting on the whistle to get this one underway. Got a listener in goal for Chicago. Lorena in goal for Kansas City with that shutout streak and her personal shutout streak. Looking to extend those record numbers. Underway as Chicago has it out of the back. And we'll see how they play it against this Kansas City team that even with the changes, Marian, it's a star-studded lineup.
That's what makes this Kansas City side so special is they really don't lose a lot of depth, right? You can have changes, you can rest players, you can have all kinds of rotation, and you can trust that the quality is going to be there.
Ball knocked away. Schwing is looking for it. Played back by Bigalski. Hendrick, German international. We saw her during Euro 2025. Back to the feet of a listener. 697 career saves coming into this one, so we'll keep our eye on that. Should be the first to get to 700. Upfield, Ludmila, dangerous wherever she plays up front. Slotting it through. Grosso, broke it up. Stars, recycling it. Ludmila into the box, coming out. Lorena with an easy play. Tossed by Lorena. On this left side, Wheeler playing it forward long. Shawinga. That's deflected out by Bigalski. Should be the first corner for Kansas City.
And that's going to be the balance for Chicago Stars. They're going to have to find a way to strike. They're okay with giving up the wide areas if that means that they can negate the central spaces. But with Timwa Shawinga, we talked in the open about the timing of her runs, her intellect in terms of what space is available to her. They may be conceding a lot of corners tonight, so we're going to have to be really keen in on these set pieces.
Corner from Katie Scott, who makes her NWSL debut tonight. They loaned her out to Racing Louisville and then recalled her recently. She's a USA Youth International. She'll drive it across, or try to, hit side netting. It's a goal kick for Alyssa Nair. Scott is one of the changes made in the starting 11 from the last game. Listener wearing the captain's armband will put it back into play. Number 1 in goalkeeper wins, games played and games started. Second all-time in shutouts. Be a throw in on the far side, but not from there. Well, Levanta normally will wear that captain's armband for Kansas City. Rested her a week ago, but she's back starting tonight. Into the middle, they tried for it. Wheeler blocked, headed down by Davinia. The pickup and clearance, Ludmila. Schlegel back towards Hendrick. So start forward, played it up the middle. Kansas City with immediate pressure on the ball, but Chicago breaks out with Gomes. Tried to find Ludmila, and it was whistled down. Chicago not mathematically eliminated yet, but if they don't get a win tonight, they officially will be. Kansas City just extending records pretty much. The difficulty for Kansas City becomes when you rest players and rotate players, how do you still maintain sharpness once the playoffs come? It's a fine tightrope to walk.
That's such a great point, because on one hand, you need rest and recovery. On the other hand, you need to continue with the rhythm and the momentum and the confidence. But one way that Vlatko Andonovski is going to start to try and achieve that mental sharpness, at least, we'll get back to that in a moment.
Cut there, it's Grosso. Ludmila tried to play it in. Schlegel was looking for it, clear it back the other way. Sprinting toward it is Cooper. She got there first. Schwinga makes a run in the box. Ball is cut back to the second runner, and that was Bia, but it was cut off.
Idea was spot on, and that's something that this Kansas City Current team is going to look to take advantage of. Moments where they can utilize the low block and the pressure points from Chicago Stars when they do choose to go. Can you catch them in transition the other way? And back to our earlier point, Vlatko Andonovski, he's actually trying out some new principles here this evening. He wants to challenge his players. He wants to encourage them to look at different ways, different structures of the game. And that's one way to keep a team sharp mentally.
Ball deflects out. Davinia knocked away. Kansas City giving it back. Levanta. Right side, Cooper earns another corner. It'll be the Current's second one.
Well, one principle that's never going to change about this Kansas City Current side is the effectiveness of their counter press. They are one of the best, if not the best team in the league in terms of winning the ball back immediately. The next 5 seconds, they are always trying to get pressure around the ball and see if they can't win a 50-50 and turn it into an attacking opportunity the other way.
Katie Scott doing the honors again. Ready in the corner. Up into the middle. Bia got a head to it, and that's wide of Alyssa Nair. Anders Jakobsen has done pretty well with this team. They weren't winning games, Marion, but they weren't losing them, which was a big change. They had only 2 wins this year, separated by 14 games. It's been a rough year.
It has been, and I think one of the big improvement points that we're seeing in terms of their on-field performance has been belief in their future and the stability of their future. These players have gone through a lot, and there's been a lot of changeover, and from a player's perspective, it can be quite difficult to buy into principles when you're not quite sure what the future looks like.
It's a bad place to lose the ball. Davinia makes them pay. 1-0 Kansas City. Goals in back-to-back games for Davinia.
And we go back to moments of the counter pressure, the effectiveness of their defensive structure. They win it off of that. The confidence in their ability to negate transition, and then it's just individual brilliance. Davinia, we talk a lot about Schwinga, but the attacking prowess of Davinia is second to none. in this league. Not only her ability to find opportunistic shot windows, but the prep touches that she consistently has. That was a beautiful prep touch that kept her not only on the frame of goal, but gave her a clean window for such a quality finish.
Well, Davinia puts them on top. They have never trailed here. Look where she ranks. All competition, 78th NWSL goal, tying the great Sam Kerr, who has recently come back from injury with Chelsea. They played 10 games. This is their 11th at home. They've never trailed once. Every stat that you say about Kansas City is mind-boggling.
It really is. It's hard to argue. You and I were talking about it. It's going to be hard to argue at the end of all of this that this isn't the best NWSL team we've ever seen. We saw a lot of really exciting things happen with Orlando Pride this year, but when you break every single statistical category down, this Kansas City Current side just absolutely blows you away. And it's one thing to have a quality starting 11. It's an entirely different conversation to have a quality roster that allows for every single player to create buy-in and for every single player to know that their role matters and it's important. And I think that when we look at the grand scheme of this Kansas City Current side, we can talk a lot about what they do on the field. We can talk a lot about the X's and O's. But for me, it's the intrinsic motivation and the expectation that the players have created. And that's simply due to the fact that every single player knows that their role is important one way or the other.
Stars come back with it. Gomes on this right side. Looking for the dangerous Ludmila, this time popping up in the middle. Finds Grosso. Blocked and cleared in one motion by Kansas City. Taken over by Franklin. This is what happens when you play Kansas City in this stadium. You fall behind, you chase the game.
And then you have to argue that the game plan goes completely out the window. So when you're Chicago Stars coming into this match and you say, okay, I'm going to sit in a mid to low block, that's assuming, to your point, that you don't have to chase the game. And with playoff elimination on the line, we're going to have to see how Anders Jakobsen responds tactically over these next 5 minutes. Because, JP, they're in an interesting spot. I don't think Anders Jakobsen is looking at the playoff saying that's our expectation, but they are building for the future. And so it'll be interesting to see really how he responds. Does he make a tactical change for this game specific, or does he continue with building that foundational block, trying to get his team to buy into a certain principle?
Pushed back initially by Cooper. Elizabeth Ball, Gabby Robinson. Two new center backs out there today because Haley Mace was injured. She might be out a few weeks, we're told. And Kayla Sharple's also out with an injury. Her Iron Woman streak ends. Played every minute so far this year. Till tonight, not even on the roster. Bia got it wide. Wheeler waits. Thought somebody was going to make that run.
And that's a little bit of a better glimpse at what Chicago Stars, in terms of their game plan, they want to see and force Kansas City into. They are challenging them to be patient on the ball by putting so many numbers centrally. They're saying, we'll give you the wide space, and then we're going to make you be technically proficient, technically excellent to get past that many numbers in the central area. That time it worked out in their favor, but it's really, against this Kansas City side, it is really about taking care of the ball because their counter press is so effective.
Hendrick towards Bigalski. She'll take it up that right wing. Has Gomes with her. Goes down by Labonta. Ball was knocked out, and it belongs to Kansas City.
We'll have another look at this. Dabinia, again, the prep touch, and it was actually the touch before that that freezes the defender. You see how she slaloms it across her body. She knows that the shot window is over to her right-hand side, but she also knows that she's got to find a way to get enough power on that to get it past Alyssa Nair. And the high-quality goalkeeper that she is, that prep touch was the entire reason for that finish.
Cooper to the right. Look how Chicago has scrambled back with numbers, and they'll recover it with Schlegel. The shutout streak continues. They haven't conceded a goal since June, haven't lost a game since May. And every minute that goes by without a goal being scored extends their own records. It's a current throw-in. 5 games left in this regular season, including tonight. And while Kansas City clinched the top spot early, the next 7 spots get into the playoffs up for grabs. I mean, we said at the top, 3 points separating team 2 from 8, and nobody wants to finish 8th because this is where you're going to open up the playoffs.
Such a good point. And you know, you bring up Kansas City, and it almost has this anticlimactic feeling to it a bit, because you have a team that is breaking all of their own records with every single minute that passes in a match. And because they are in such a different category, as we take a look back at this foul that earned a yellow card, because they're in such a different category, you almost forget just how tight the race is underneath them. It is really anybody's game. And to your point, it's really a fight to be in 6th or 7th, and not a fight to get into the playoffs.
And you got other teams outside of the playoff chase as we look at B. Franklin being the first player booked tonight. Talking about Racing Louisville, Angel City, who play against one another tomorrow, and Houston is making their best effort to get into one of those playoff spots as well. Ball cleared by Ball. Right side, Cooper's after it, but it's blasted away by Sam Staub. Kansas City throwing. Staub coming back from last year's horrific Achilles injury, came back faster than anyone could have predicted, including the medical staff. Cooper launching that one for Debinha. Staub gives that a ride. Still in play. Looked like it was going to go out. Battle for the ball. Sent back by Labonta, but too heavy in the touch. It's a goal kick for Nair.
It'll be really interesting to see how Sam Staub continues to fit this new mold as a new coaching staff comes in and some new principles begin being introduced. We mentioned to you when looking at the lineup card that she actually had a stint at holding midfielder last week for them, and is actually quite a natural fit for her and her comfort level on the ball, her ability to read seams and protect a back line. The problem she gets into with the Chicago Star side and what they've had to endure this year is that she's had to be both savior and playmaker. And when you are a center back that has such an ability to distribute like she does, you're going to have to absorb a lot of pressure. Teams and strikers are going to press you very, very hard, very heavy, and that's a lot of burden for a center back to have to carry. So with her playmaking ability, I'm interested to see if we don't see a little bit more from her at the center midfield spot.
Robinson back for a ball. There's a little bit of pressure there from Ludmila. Robinson too long, intended for Wheeler. th minute. Current leading Chicago on a Debinha goal. 7th of the season. Staub cleared it ahead. Cut off. Ball got it forward. Cooper tries to get around and does. Michelle Cooper, strong run down the right side. No one's closing her. Trying to play it in front. She's got the ability to cut that ball back too. We've seen that many times, but that time she went across the mouth of goal.
Keep reading my mind, JP. Spot on. And right now for Chicago Stars, they're just rattled, right? They are rattled on the ball. And again, counter pressure ends up working out in her favor. The strength of Michelle Cooper in that moment. She knows she's got the inside shoulder, completely eliminates the defender in her wake.
She's explaining that to the referee, Cora Leba. Had they scored there, they might have come back and looked at that.
I agree with you.
You know? And maybe that's what the referee said to her on the field, and she was giving her explanation. 17th minute, corner. Third one already for the Current. Scott takes it into the middle. Cleared away by Maitane. Labonta got there first, finds Shawinga. Ball. Drives it across, missing. Try to find Labonta. Stars have a throw, but there's a second ball in the field, so Bigalski waits. And that ball goes out as well. Belongs to Kansas City. Listen there, longtime captain, great goalkeeper for club and country. Already announced her international retirement. Here is Dabinia looking for a second. Didn't have much on it in the end. And there went down to stop it. Hendrick up the middle. Franklin, another turnover, bad spot again. Flicked to Dabinia from Bia. She tried to be a bit unselfish, too unselfish for Cooper. Wheeler controlling it. Bia looks for it, it comes back out. Slotted over by Feist. The cross by Wheeler. Chicago's playing with fire there. Again, picked by Labonta. Wheeler, curling ball up towards Shawinga. It's settled and driven over the bar.
Well, all the turnovers for Chicago Stars have been the exact same spot, the exact same way. They are forcing everything centrally right now, which is exactly where Kansas City Current has their numbers. Oftentimes, Kansas City Current presses in that 4-2-4 type of structure, and they clog the central areas. They make you feel like you've got time and space on the ball, and then they pounce on the entry ball, they collect it, and then they do what Michelle Cooper just did, and they try to get a goal off of it. And so right now, it's got to be something different from Chicago Stars. There's got to be a bit more tempo to the options available for the ball carrier. Right now, just the movement off of the ball, not good enough.
Cooper's enjoying her best season, and this is her third year in the league. Bia trying to get through. Labonta got it forward. On the turn, right at Nair from Cooper.
Playing a low block has its pros, but one of the cons is that innately, when you have so many players back, the question becomes, how do you get forward? How do you find an outlet for release when you are conceding that all of your players are going to be back behind the ball? And that right now is really where Chicago is struggling. They cannot find an outlet to relieve the pressure, and Kansas City Current picking up every single second phase of play.
Hendrick into the circle, almost lost there again, but Maitane cleans it up. Back for Staub, formerly with Washington. Malum up higher, push back. Staub. 21st minute. Chicago on the road, trailing by 1. Schlegel, good idea. Ludmila into space, Bigalski. Look at the tracking back from Shawinga. Yes, she's a great offensive player, but no one can discount her work rate defensively.
You nailed it, and I think that's actually more important. And if you're a player out there, I remember selfishly, JP, as a striker myself, why do I need to defend? It's my job to score goals. Well, most of her defensive work rate is actually what's the catalyst for Kansas City going forward the other way. It creates so many goal-scoring opportunities for them.
They went with a short corner, and then Gomes drives it. Headed away by Shawinga. The defensive had to win. Look at the sprint for the ball. Cleared, but not out. Turning, Dabinia leading it for Bia. Bia cuts, shoots, stopped by Nair. That might be her 700th. We'll wait for the official statistician to give us that number, but she was 3 away from 700. I've counted at least 3.
You both.
Grosso on that left side, knocked out for a Chicago throw-in. Switched by Staub. Right side, Bigalski. Lost it to Wheeler. Full speed ahead for Ellie Wheeler. Outside the box, looks to cross it. And that's denied. Wheeler should get there first. Keep it in play. Second year pro will let it go out instead for a throw-in. Tapped by Dabinia. Wheeler. That time, Kansas City gives it away to Gomes. She takes off. Gomes, heavy touch, turned over. Wheeler sending it forward, trying to find Shawinga. We were told that Nair did get credit for a third save, so that would give her 700. Congratulations to her, the first one to get there.
Look at all the space, right? All of that because of the willingness for this Kansas City Current side to step their lines up together. When one starts to step defensively, the lines behind them step, and it allows for them to collect the second phase of play and have options going forward.
That was her 700 save that we just saw from Bia. On that foul, it's a free kick for Kansas City. Labonta, a sub last week. It was her 175th NWSL game. Nair setting up the wall. Now to the right side. Cooper going back. Scott. Ball with Robinson calling for it. They'll keep it on that right side. Dabinia. Oof. Hard challenge, the card's coming. Cooper saying for what? But the referee already had the card out.
And we'll remind you about the talking to that she got moments earlier with the hip check. Have to say, I'm not sure that I agree with it. Here's my thing. I know that there's questions about follow through, right? It's something that referees have to take into consideration, but her momentum was already to ground. She was clearly playing the ball, clearly got the ball. And if anyone was late to the tackle, it was the Chicago Stars player.
I think it was risky, but she executed it well.
I agree.
Here's Hendrick up the middle.
And now to your point, if you're Michelle Cooper and B. Franklin, who's also on a yellow, you've seen how quickly perhaps this referee will go to the book. You cannot put yourself in a position for her to make the decision. Right now, the risk has to be taken out of the match. There's still a lot of time left to be played, and you cannot put yourself in a position where it's up for debate.
Tackled away from Shawinga by Bigalski, but picked up. Dabinia, scoop pass up. Shawinga brings it down, turns and fires. It was blocked. Not sure how she got the shot off. Bia kept it in the end line. Tapped out. Wheeler. Back towards Wheeler. Does well to receive it and turn on Franklin. Dabinia. Labonta for Bia. Turning, and here comes the fourth corner for Kansas City.
A couple of things. We told you that Chicago is going to play with a flat midfield three. As we take a look back at this moment, look at the difference in the movements. You've always got a player checking, you've always got a player in behind, and let's call a spade a spade. That's not an intelligent run from Timwa Shawinga, but we told you that the support cast around her has helped her to become this multi-dimensional attacker. And while it's not a good run, it's a cheeky ball over the top, and then you see the skill on display for her to even be able to bring that down.
Another Current corner, driven to the middle, headed away, sent right back in, and wide and high against Nair.
And the other part to that is that midfield, flat midfield three that I was telling you with Chicago Stars. If you're going to play a flat three, they've got to be disciplined, and they have to stay flat so that they can clog the spaces in front of the back line. But right now, Kansas City doing a really nice job pulling them just a bit unlevel so they can find those smaller pockets of space to operate on either side. And that's really what's releasing so many opportunities for them going forward.
Right-footed clearance from Nair. Cut off. Cooper. Foul against Chicago. Free kick for Kansas City. We're getting close to the half-hour mark. In CPKC Stadium. Ball sent across, denied by Staub. Levanta, now Bia, back to goal, plays it back out. Curling ball from Wheeler is again over the bar. Kansas City has rested some players tonight. They have a couple of players out with injury, but because they have so much depth, they can take 4 or 5 players out of their lineup, and it's still a star-studded lineup. Most teams can't do that. Not to this extent, anyway.
And there are several keys that go into winning a championship, and roster depth, absolutely one of the biggest ones.
Dabinia on the run, kept it in. Right at the end line, back for Bia. Brazilian connection, it comes back out. Scott got it back. The run of Cooper, oh, try to leave that for Shawinga. Dabinia leaves it again. Cooper taking on a defender or two. Cooper tried that cutback, but it's blocked and cleared by Staub. Lost there. What a play.
Tackle.
Cut back, left side, Levanta. Bia knocked away, but recovered quickly. On the move is Feist, out wide. Wheeler, that cross. Knotted down, but cleared by Schlegel. That's blocked as well, but maybe off the face. Play is stopped. Tough landing too for Schlegel, but thought it caught her in the face area.
It definitely didn't seem to feel good. Lola Bonta just trying to get things back into the 18-yard box, and it actually tucked in arm of Schlegel.
She turned. Good thing, or she would have taken that one in the face.
I often tell you, never take your eye off the ball, but in that sense, I think it was the right move.
Half hour in, thoughts in the game?
This is what Kansas City Current does to you. They take the game plan that you think you're going to be able to execute, and they make you uncomfortable. They make you play in spaces you don't want to play in. Quite frankly, Chicago hasn't been good enough on the ball, and you have to know that when you're playing a Kansas City Current side who is this effective at their defensive measures, you have to take care of the ball. And so tactically, it doesn't matter what you do if you cannot connect the next pass, and that's going to have to be something that Chicago figures out in these waning minutes.
Ludmila tries to take off, being held back, still continues her run. Advantage call here. Ludmila now went down, and now the yellow card. It was a good advantage call, but in the end, a proper yellow on Scott.
And this is exactly what Chicago actually wants to do. In these opening 30 minutes, I've questioned what their attacking game plan has been, but we told you that Ludmila and her ability to serve as an outlet as they're playing in this defensive low block was going to be key. And this is what she can create. When she can find herself 1v1, she is so dangerous at turning defenders and then running at the back line. You have to respect her ability to shoot from distance, and you have to respect her ability to beat you on the dribble. And so having to respect both aspects can oftentimes freeze and cause hesitation for a defender. And in that moment, she actually just earns the foul from Katie Scott. Probably the right move at the end of the day.
Lorena trying to set up the wall, 32nd minute. It's Staub with that good left foot, or Grosso. Either one capable from this distance, which is about 27 or so yards from goal. Staub on the strike, hits the wall. The wall does its job, leads to a corner for Chicago.
And the reason I say it was probably the right decision from Katie Scott is because that distance is quite difficult to get enough power and pace on that to really have a shot at goal and to have enough finesse to bend it around the wall.
It's Grosso, the Canadian international, sending it back, cleared away. It was Bia that time with a clearance. So the forwards have been getting it done on both sides of the ball. They're going to make this throw-in be taken from a deeper spot where that ball actually went out. Ball will push it across. Robinson to the left for Wheeler. A 1-0 lead on the goal by Davinia. 34th minute. Bigalski take the throw in for Chicago. Gomes off Schlegel. Labonta clears it. Sanair out of goal. Staub holds over the top. Headed forward by Schlegel. Kansas City quick to the ball. Back to Lorena. This is their 22nd game. They've scored the first goal of the game now in 19 of the 22 games. There have been 2 games that were scoreless draws. So they start off on the right foot. Teams have to chase the game. But this year they were able to close it out. Last year they were involved in more high-scoring games. This year, far better defensively than last year. Not even close.
And what a big change, right? The maturity, the professionalism. It can be so easy to just continue wanting another one, go after another one. But it's the sign of a mature team to be able to be comfortable protecting a 1-0 lead, a 2-0 lead, being so confident in what you can do defensively. JP, I think you're spot on, and I think that's a huge reason to the success that we're seeing in this 2025 season.
Staub on the ball. Back for Hendrick. Sam Staub moving it upfield. B. Franklin cutting ball in for Schlegel. Schlegel rode off a challenge from Ball, fires it, and Lorena's got it.
Ali Schlegel does ever so well to use the over pursuit of Elizabeth Ball to her advantage. She feels her heavily on her right hip, so she just opens her hips up, turns with her left, and don't get me wrong, she can absolutely hit one from distance. Lorena just happens to be playing some of the best goalkeeping we have ever seen. What an athletic, reactionary save from Lorena, which I think she had to make. I think that was going to be on frame, at least hitting the woodwork.
Yeah, she could take a chance that was going to go wide. Robinson looking for Wheeler, and that's too far. Nair will put it back into play in the 36th minute. On the bright side or the plus side for Chicago, they're only down by 1 goal. They're still very much in the game at this point.
Absolutely, and so much of that is about settling, right? They need to have this inner confidence about not only their game plan, but their individual skills. And while Kansas City Current does have some superstars out there, obviously Tim Washawinga not rotated yet, this isn't the full breadth of their lineup. This isn't the full starting 11 that we typically see. There are some weaker points on the field, albeit not as much, probably as some other rotations in the league, but there are some points that they can exploit. And Chicago Stars have been at their best on the attacking side of the ball when they've been quick to go from left to right or right to left and find their outlets in a bit more of isolation.
Bia in her second year with Kansas City, dispossessed. Last year, her season was cut short by injury. Her numbers are better this year. Games played, games started, minutes, and all the other offensive stats as Wheeler takes it end line, earns another corner for Kansas City. '38th minute. A Davinia goal, the difference in the game still. And this time it's Davinia that's going to take the corner instead of Scott. Driven to the middle, punched away. Labonta brought it down. Feist. It deflects to Nair. Not much on it after that deflection. Grosso for Chicago. Got it wide left. Ludmila. 6 goals and an assist since everyone came back from the international break. This brought Ludmila to number 3 in the Golden Boot race. Malum back for Staub. Chicago with possession in their own half. Barely made the playoffs last year, made some off-season changes. Of course, the Mallory Swanson maternity leave really changed things. She was their star, and everyone was looking forward to how she and Ludmila would gel this year after Ludmila came in late last year, but Swanson never got to play this year. Battle for the ball. No foul call there. Ludmila on the quick turn. No one's closing. She has options, sliding it forward. Grosso in the box. Holds it, shoots. Stopped by Lorena. Chicago could have had an equalizer. They had 2 players in a good spot to score.
Couldn't agree more, and I actually believe that if Ludmila continues this run even just a half second longer, she might, with her speed, can get a toe poke in front of Lorena. But you saw in that last second moment, she backed outside of the 6-yard box, trying to be respectful of the shot window. But if she continued that near post run, not only could she have potentially gotten a toe poke on it, but it makes the save much more difficult for Lorena, who is now having to deal with traffic in front of her.
40th minute. Tabina's goal, the difference. Came early, 7th minute. It's her 7th goal of the season. Robinson for Elizabeth Ball. Scott, Long, Cooper brought it down. Tucked it inside. Tabina was looking across for Shawinga. Swinging a partial miss. Bia brought it down. Labonta juggles and shoots, but it's wide. '41st minute, 1-0. Kansas City leading Chicago. They played earlier this year in Chicago. Kansas City won that game 3-1. Ludmila slipping away on that far side against Scott, who was on a yellow card. So is Franklin, so is Cooper in this opening half. Bialski for Gomes. Tried to turn, lost the ball, cleared out by Robinson. So Bialski throw in. Headed towards Schlegel, cleared towards Labonta, and she touched it last. Stars have a throw-in. '42nd minute. Staub going over to take it. Capable of those long throw-ins. Anytime she'll take them deep near that corner flag, get an opportunity in the box. She got that ball in there. Headed backwards. Flick by Grosso. It's coming back out. Schlegel, no foul was called, and they score. But there's a foul, and it's waved off. So as I was getting ready to say about the shutout streak ending, etc., it's not.
Well, how disheartening for Chicago Stars, who have done well to really grow into the latter portion of this half. Let's take a look at what happened. Ali Schlegel obviously gets the ball down, but it's actually off the ball. Ludmila in that moment coming together with Elizabeth Ball. I don't know that I can agree with that, because it feels like in that angle of the replay, Ludmila actually gets sandwiched between Ball and Feist as she's just trying to make a 50-50 challenge for it. And it was actually the impact of Bailey Feist who pushed Ludmila more heavy into Elizabeth Ball. I'm really surprised.
VAR looks at everything, but that didn't take long at all. So if they did look, unless she just blew that whistle before the ball went into the back of the net, that we couldn't hear. Scott on it. Well done, though, by Chicago. It doesn't count, but if they're looking for belief in confidence, it was there. Played across, knocked away by Staub. Schlegel leaves it. Maitane, both two Stars players almost run into each other. Staub goes calmly back to Nair. Slicing it to the right. Wheeler. And their head on a swivel. Ball is played back to Nair. Stop. Cooper takes it away. Runs toward that crowded middle. Dispossessed. Feist, in her first start of the year, has the ball again. Bailey Feist got it wide. Left side, it's Wheeler. Against Pigalski here. Shawinga making the run. Drawing attention. Shawinga lays it off. Wheeler. Shawinga. And the flag is up.
And that little moment where you saw Timothée Shawinga explode into that space, that is one of the most baseline principles that they teach you as a player, but one of the easiest to forget. Oftentimes we see players just sitting in the space where they want to receive the ball. Timothée Shawinga, one of the best in this league about exploding into the space she wants the ball, and that tempo, that speed, it's something that really opposing defenders often struggle with.
Ball is played back by Grosso for stop. Final minute, we'll see about stoppage time. In about a half a minute. Shawinga took it away from Pigalski. Shawinga still with it, and now pushes it farther back for Scott. Almost at 45 here. Schlegel picks it off. And then had that pass picked by Scott. Quickly up for Cooper. Bia and Shawinga making runs. Same with Davinia. Davinia receives, then delivers. Cooper, edge of the box now inside. 1 minute added in stoppage time, that's it. Labonta. Wheeler. Floating one up there. Bia was waiting for that ball. Brought down by Labonta. Almost handled it. Cooper, right side, cross. Intended for Bia. Who took Staub out. About a half a minute left in this opening half. Ball deflects out. The shutout streak is continuing at 857 minutes, and Lorena is at 677 on her personal side. The backup goalkeeper, Laurel Ivory, has played 2 games and has not conceded a goal. Hendrick. Return to the German international. Back for Nair. That's going to do it. First half has come to a close with Kansas City on top on a goal by Davinia. Your thoughts of the first 45?
Kansas City's pretty simple. Rinse, repeat what you did in the first 45, especially baiting this Chicago Stars team to play a bit more centrally. That's where they've had a lot of success on the defensive side of the ball. It's led to success on the attacking side. Some changes needed to be made for Chicago Stars tactically and personnel-wise.
We'll see if they do that when we bring you the second half. Highlights, stats, and plenty more to come your way from Kansas City, where the Current lead it 1-0 over Chicago.
Thousands of Vancouver employees and staff spend countless hours volunteering to teach people knowledge their financial goals. What are you looking forward to doing?
Welcome back, everyone. Kansas City Current with a 1-0 lead over the Chicago Stars, and a goal by Davini, who also scored last week when Kansas City clinched the NWSL Shield. We'll take you back to that game.
Well, Davinia, not only can she hurt you in the run of play, but she is also cool, calm, and collected under pressure. This was the penalty kick to give them the early lead. And Temwashawinga, I mean, what can't she do? She can finish on the dribble, she can finish from distance, and she can poach you in the 6-yard box. This is my favorite part, though, JP. Look at what it means to this group to celebrate with Blackcoat.
Well, they win the Shield for the first time, but one common denominator in terms of the NWSL Shield, they just don't seem to have repeat winners. We've got the last, 6 up there, and no name is repeated.
Well, look, this league is difficult, and there is oftentimes a lot of turnover, but you and I in that first half talked quite a bit about the depth of this Kansas City Current side, and I have to think that if any of these teams could repeat and perhaps see themselves multiple times in this last 6-year span, it's going to be Kansas City.
They still have another half to play in this game. We'll have highlights from this game and more when we come back. Kansas City leading Chicago 1-0 is your score.
The University of Kansas Health System is proud to be the official healthcare provider of the Kansas City Pros. A health system with player care first for female athletes from youth to the pros with attention at every moment of your experience. Learn more at kansashealthsystem.com/KCPros. As the first railway connecting North America, CPKC brings people, communities, and nations closer. Together, go places no one else can go with CPKC. Watch NWSL games on CBS, ESPN, ION, and Prime for NWSL Plus platforms. The NWSL just launched. Call at NWSL on X to keep up with all the action in the 2025 NWSL season. Visit NWSLshop.com. Find your love's biggest gear, yours Let's head back over the East Concourse and check in with DJ.
It's low scoring from a Kansas City Current standpoint. We've only played half of this game. They've got a 1-0 lead over the Chicago Stars. The lone goal by Davinia as we bring you highlights from the first 45 minutes of play.
There was a lot of tactical nuance that went into this first 45 minutes, but take tactics away, and if you're not comfortable on the ball against this Kansas City Current side and the defensive pressure that they put you under, it's not going to matter. And that defensive pressure is exactly what causes this goal. It's a simplistic layoff from Via, and it's a brilliant finish from Davinia. The prep touch is exquisite, and the bend into the near post, past one of the greats in Alyssa Nair, absolutely extraordinary. Now, don't get me wrong, Chicago Stars had some bright moments, specifically when Allie Schlegel played in that space right in front of the back line. She uses the over pursuit of Elizabeth Ball to actually turn and get faced up to goal. But Lorena, my goodness, the athleticism and the reaction time from Lorena. It's one of the reasons that she's got an incredible minute streak going in terms of not conceding a goal. Ludmila, Chicago Stars, if they want to improve in the second 45, they've got to find a way to get her more involved as the outlet. She creates a lot of havoc, and not only that, she attracts a lot of attention, which can open up some opportunities for other players like Julia Grosso here in this moment that takes a look at the near post.
Look at the numbers for the first half of play. 13 shots for Kansas City, and they had 5 of them on target. Chicago, not as many shots, but they had a couple of those on target. We congratulate Alyssa Nair for making 3 saves in this opening half, including career number 700. We'll see what changes are in store for the second half, whether it's players or tactics, when we come back. Kansas City 1, Chicago Stars, no score.
Together, we can ensure every match day is one built on respect, unity, and celebration of the game. There's only a few minutes left to get on the KC Current 50-50 rental, supporting the United Way of Greater Kansas City. Scan the QR code on the scoreboard or visit kansascitycurrent.com/50-50 rental to enter. The wedding ticket will be drawn in the 75th minute tonight. So don't miss this final chance to win big and get back. The box currently at $10,650. Good luck.
We're back bringing you this game in week 22 of the NWSL. Kansas City Current at home versus the Chicago Stars from CPKC Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. This is one of 3 games going on tonight in another busy weekend. One game is already They have a chance to get up there and make it to the playoffs, but they need wins. They've won only once since the return from the international break. All the games have been close, only one game decided by more than one goal, but most of those were either draws or losses. We will see if there are any changes here to start the second half in terms of players. Lights are in full now. Waiting for the second half kickoff. Besides players possibly changing, we'll verify that in a moment. What needs to change for Chicago? They're the ones trailing.
More of what you saw in the later portion of that first half. They were very dangerous when they moved from left to right and right to left quite quickly, but they were also really dangerous when they knew where their outlets were. They were strong in their defensive ability, and then they were confident on the ball to break that initial line of confrontation from Kansas City Current and find the outlet players. When we looked at those standings and that scoreboard, another one that is also huge is Washington Spirit against the Houston Dash. Houston has been one of those teams that have consistently put together some top performances since the break, and they're looking to break into that playoff position as well.
Second half underway. If you're just joining us, Kansas City Current at home. They're in red. Chicago Stars are in black. Robinson will play it forward. Hearing Kansas City has made one change. We'll verify that. Robinson holding. It's Izzy Rodriguez in for Katie Scott, who was on a yellow card. Rodriguez plays on that left side. Scott was playing on the right, so that means Wheeler moves over as Cooper sends it over the bar. Izzy Rodriguez is having a sensational season. A starter all the time until tonight when she was rested. How does that change things tactically? Because Rodriguez likes to push high up.
As does Ellie Wheeler, right? And I actually thought that Katie Scott in the first half was given more defensive responsibilities, more tracking metrics, if you will. And Ellie Wheeler was actually one of the fullbacks that was very involved in the attack for Kansas City. Now it's about balance between those two. Both cannot release at the same time, especially going up against Ludmila.
Ball was deflected out. First corner of the second half for Kansas City. Cooper's on a yellow. Franklin and Scott all on yellows. And, of course, Scott is now out of the game. In the very first regular season appearance. She played in other competitions for Kansas City, but the first action in this league came tonight. Sixth corner for the Current. And Izzy Rodriguez will take it with a good left foot, played towards the middle, cleared out. Another corner as Chicago got to it. So seventh corner kick for Kansas City. Davinia's over there to take it. What a great career she's had before this in North Carolina. Davinia in swinging ball, headed straight up. There is no second ball there as it went out, but it's another corner. Their eighth. Davinia backs it up. Lofting one towards the middle. Nair got one hand to it. It was enough. Levante with a pickup. Nudged by Ludmila. Shawinga is back. Rodriguez leaves it there. Davinia. Izzy Rodriguez cutting it back. Deflected ball off of Davinia, who charges for it. Blocked by Chicago. Gomes swing and a miss. Feist kept it alive. That shot is blocked as well by Hendrick. Showing help to keep that ball alive. And now the foul.
And we're seeing just how involved Izzy Rodriguez already is in the attack. And I actually think from a personnel perspective and what Chicago Stars is trying to do here defensively, that's a great move from Vlatko Andonovski. When you're a team that sits in a low block and you try to protect the central spaces, inevitably that's going to invite the opposition's fullbacks to try and get a bit more forward, have a different wrinkle in the attack. And Izzy Rodriguez, a player who's comfortable doing that, she's going to be able to help Kansas City expose more of the wide areas a bit and hopefully for them get another goal so that they can continue with this rest of their key players.
Wheeler on the right, where Scott was in the first half. Ludmila, great job to take it away. Here's the Brazilian star, Ludmila cutting. Wanted to get her own shot, it looked like, and then in the end was dispossessed. But that's the danger when you have a player like Ludmila on you. When you're Ellie Wheeler or anyone else, if you lose the ball there, you're in trouble. Spot
on. Her reaction time so quick, her strength on the ball. I felt like in that moment she was a little bit indecisive with what she wanted to do. She knew that she had the run of Gomes on the other side. The passing channel wasn't quite there, but she also was thinking, I need to stay within the frame of goal so that I can have a go at myself. And actually, JP, I thought in that moment the right decision would have been for her to actually cut in line and let Gomes make that streaking run across the face of goal and perhaps have the most probable attack that way.
Malum's on the chase. Ball for Wheeler. 51st minute. Kansas City up by a 1-0 score, up for Shawinga. The touch for Bia. Bia drives it into the box, took the shot and scores! 2-0 Kansas City.
Well, Chicago Stars wanted to force anybody but Timothée Shawinga and Davinia to be the playmaker. So Ellie Wheeler ends up doing it all. She starts it. And JP, one of the nuances to this Kansas City side is the simplicity of their attackers back to goal. It's simple one-touch movement that releases the players underneath them. And Davinia, she has been on the favored end of not only a setup from Bia Zanarat, but also a setup from Timothée Shawinga. But make no mistake about it, the two finishes from Davinia tonight have been worldy.
52nd minute for Bia. Two goals by Brazilian players tonight. It was Chawinga's touch, though, that set her up nicely, and that should be Chawinga's assist. She keeps her in the Golden Boot lead. Esther has not scored yet in that other game. Bia gets credit for her 6th of the year.
She did ever so well in the first goal to set up Davinia. She gets on the favorable end of it this time around. And that is something that's so dynamic about this Kansas City attack, is the duality of the roles that both can play. Timwa Chawinga, we can see her release, but we can also see her play back to goal. Bia, we can see her play back to goal, but we can also see her act as a player that's a little bit deeper.
Cooper's cross is tipped over the bar. Well, the news got worse for Chicago. They're in it when they're down 1-0. Now they need one to stop this. It's a corner. Kansas City will manage the clock a little bit differently now here in the second half, and now with a 2-goal lead. They're almost at a double-digit number in corners. Izzy Rodriguez drives it across, deflected away. Lola Bonta is there first. All the way back, keep possession. Chawinga. Ball. Rodriguez now on this right side. That was the side where she took the corner from, so she'll stay there for now. Rodriguez out of Ohio State, capped by the U.S. senior national team this summer. As Emma Hayes, the head coach of the USA, continues to expand the pool, heavily scouting the NWSL. How did that second goal change the game for you?
I think it completely negates the confidence that we saw Chicago Stars in the first half with. It's a brilliant start from Kansas City. And from a confidence perspective now, if you're Chicago, you went from not necessarily having to chase the game to absolutely having to pull out of your low block from time to time, which is going to leave you a bit more exposed. And exposure is something that you try to avoid at all costs against Kansas City Current.
Feist holding on the right. To the end line, Davinia. Feist. It's blocked. Recovered though. Levanta, great hustle, winning it for Davinia. Head up, the cross. Had a lot of power to it. Headed away by Hendrick. Back for Davinia. Feist. Well done to Cooper. Across. Oh, Chawinga was making the run. That could have been 3-0.
Absolutely. Had to be a save from Alyssa Nair in that moment. She does really well to come off her line and punch that one away. Love the little combination play. And it's too narrow from Chicago. Leaves the width entirely too open. Great decision from Michelle Cooper to send that ball one time behind a retreating back line. So much danger can happen when you force defenders to face their own goal. Alyssa Nair coming up huge.
Davinia's ready. Another delivery up for grabs in the middle. Bia was going for it. Brought down by Levanta. Current captain. Forced back. Finds Feist. Twisting and turning. Trying to get herself free. Does well just to keep possession, not lose it there. Chawinga in the circle. Rodriguez. She'll get the return ball. Izzy Rodriguez. That cross. Hits side netting. She's dangerous with the left foot on that side.
She's confident going forward. And I am fine with it again, but it's about balance. Especially when you have teams that are going to start to chase the game and you know that you've got one of the most potent attackers in Ludmila on the other side. You've got to make sure that you're always +1 defensively. And this, JP, is what you were alluding to in the first half. The ability for Kansas City this year to close games out, leave in the second half with limited to no exposure on the back line. One thing tactically and personnel-wise, this is a group that wants rotation. They want players to have depth, and they want players to have quality minutes. And anytime that you can start a half getting another goal to add on to your lead, it's a much easier decision for the head coach to make those substitutions a bit earlier.
Bia takes it across, switching it, deadened for Davinia, but that's cleared away. Out for a throw-in. We're getting closer to the hour mark. Kansas City this year, 13 times they've won games by multiple goals. Another record. Almost every sentence you say about Kansas City, you have to say record or extends the record, their record.
Yeah, breaking their own at this point.
Schlegel, Gomes, and Gomes will get one from a tough angle. Chicago's on the board, so it's not over yet. But what is over is the shutout streak on both the club and Lorena.
Well, we knew outlets were going to be important. I also told you in the first half that Ali Schlegel dropping and playing in front of the back line was when they were at their most dangerous. She does just that and attracts two Kansas City players, which forces Gabrielle Robinson to have to track to the wide areas. The rotation is a little bit delayed, and it is a brilliant first-time cheeky little finish from Nadia Gomes. In this moment, if you're Lorena, you're thinking, I got to protect the back post. And instead, Nadia Gomes, she tested her to the near post. Lorena knows she probably was cheating just a little bit too far. But we have got ourselves a different one here tonight at CPKC.
From that angle, I'm thinking Lorena thinks she's going with the right foot. And then all of a sudden it was the left foot which changed the angle.
Not only the right foot, but also there was awareness from Lorena that Ludmila was lurking on the back post. So it's hard as a goalkeeper in that moment to stay honest. It's really cheeky, really intelligent from Nadia Gomes.
Good for Chicago. They've come back. Most teams, you go down 2-0 here. Sometimes the heads go down. Sometimes it gets worse. They're back in the game. 869 minutes, so that shutout streak has ended. Staub takes it. And we're not even at the hour mark, almost there. So the next 10 minutes or so, you know, can Chicago stay in this? Can they put pressure on? They've been scoring a lot more goals lately, led by Ludmila. Here is Schlegel. That goal has to give them some life, though. Grosso, Malum. Goal coming in the 57th minute for Gomes. Stop. Another half hour to go. How does Kansas City respond after conceding a goal?
It's actually interesting because I was just telling you that getting a goal at the start of the second half actually gives a manager some confidence to make some of the substitutions that he wanted to in terms of providing rest and providing some rotation. And now you're again in that balance of making sure that rest and rotation happen because they have clinched the Shield. Their spot is earned. But you also want to keep the competitive edge. You also want to keep the rhythm and the mentality that has gotten your group so far. If I'm Vlatko Andonovski, I am holding off on some substitutes until I feel that my team is a little bit more in this one because Chicago has stolen the momentum of late.
Here in the Kansas City is about to make 3 changes as Ludmila takes off in the left. That cross was blocked, picked off by Grosso. Out wide to Ludmila. Chicago playing with some confidence. Heavy touch by Ludmila, but got it in front and cleared away towards Grosso. Malum putting one into the box for Schlegel. Just wide. Could have been 2-2. And now we're going to see some changes, we believe. Kansas City's talking about making 3 changes.
Well, look at Ludmila, just her ability to get in line. But it's really the second phase of play and the realization from the Chicago Stars that they don't have to stay in a low block for the entirety of this match. They've started to push a few numbers higher up, and it's actually really helped them collect that second phase of play and find more attacking options on the recycled portions.
B gets a nice ovation as she comes out. Mary Long has come in, Stig Letter has come in, Alex Pfeiffer has come in, Cooper has come out, and Gabby Robinson. So those are the changes. A 2-1 lead for Kansas City. We'll see how this affects the balance and where these players play, if they're like-for-like swaps or if they're not. Schlegel brings that down. Headed back towards Ludmila with a back to goal. Now Schlegel with a pickup, fires it, but right at Lorena. Black-Lewandowski's given opportunities to players that are not getting much time. Stigletter, for example, her first minutes of the year. Mary Long, 8th game as a sub. Alex Pfeiffer, 2nd game coming back from last year's ACL. Stigletter on that left side. Pushing it back. In a space, Shawinga, dangerous, flicking it in front, deflected ball away from there and cleared. That was close.
Well, Dubini's hunting for the brace that I tried to give her earlier in this match. But ultimately, Timwa Shawinga, when you feel like she's out of it, her pace, her acceleration is what makes her so special. And it's a good delivery. That's the right run. That's the right ball to just slot that one back across the face.
It's a good clearance in the end by Malum. Now on this right side, here's Chicago with that belief down the right side. Ludmila. They have numbers forward now. Out for a throw-in. That goal from Gomes was huge. Giving them life in a game where you feared that maybe at 2-0 it would become 3-0 instead.
And with the entry of a new center back for Kansas City and Reagan Stegletter, if I'm Ludmila circling in on that.
The cross was deflected. Corner for Chicago. 65th minute. Trailing by 1. They've only got 2 wins this year. One of them on the road. That was a big win at Orlando. The other one was at home against Bay FC. Sam Staub will go over to take the corner. Veteran Staub, 28, 6th year of the league out of Clemson University. With that left foot, near post, headed away. Claimed by Gomes. Fires, it's blocked. Picked up and cleared into space. Dubini's making a run. So is Shawinga. Long has it wide, or Pfeiffer make it on that far side. Leaves it off. And now Chicago's had time to get numbers back.
That was really well done by Cameron Bogalski. In that moment, you've got a couple of options. You can delay, you can deny, and she did both of them. And her small intervention gave about a 5 to 7 second runway for her team to get back into their defensive shape. Really well done from the right back.
Now that back line, one true veteran there is Ball. Rodriguez, a little bit more experienced than the other two, but really she's playing so much up higher that it looks like it's a three-pack
yeah,
for Kansas City. They'll just work it with possession. Stigletter out of Northwestern University, 2nd year. Feist in the middle. Able to make that pass to the left. Cutting ball inside, long, cutting it back, Feist. What a chance she had to give Kansas City the 2-goal lead back, but the flag may have been up. Hearing another sub. And it sounded like for Kansas City, but we'll wait. It's 2-1 here in the 68th minute. Chicago has not gone to the bench yet, and it is going to be Ali Setnor coming in for Dabinia, who had a terrific night again. And that's it for the subs for Kansas City. They made their 5th change. It's all Brazilian scoring summary on the part of Kansas City. With Dabinia scoring and Bia. Ludmila, another Brazilian, holding there. Putting it ahead. Grosso holds for Gomes. Gomes will play it back. Gomes turns, and that's blocked. Headed down by Malum. Schlegel rushed that one and sent it wide.
And that's been a little bit of the change for Chicago Stars. That confidence, we're seeing them have some more numbers going forward, but because they know they're chasing the game a little bit and because they're confident that they can score on this Kansas City Current side, we're seeing it rushed. We're seeing it rushed a bit in the final third. They need to get back to this idea of patience that is really what opened up the first goal and their ability to play through the seams, particularly right in front of the back line.
Are you surprised at all that Chicago's not gone to the bench?
Slightly.
Yeah.
I do think that there's a lot of recovery runs that have to happen with this group.
Pfeiffer. Shawinga. Outside Izzy Rodriguez. Outside the box. Drives one. Headed down and then covered up by Nair.
And the reason I say that is because playing in a low block like we saw Chicago play in the first 45 minutes, it's really taxing. It's taxing mentally, but it's also taxing for the back line to have to shift left to right. There's a lot of recovery runs that are involved. And so that obviously will affect your ability, your energy going forward. And this Chicago Stars team, they have some firepower on the attacking side on the bench.
The player we think we'll see is Chacon, who's a Colombian international. We didn't expect to see her for much, but thought maybe 10 to 20 minutes. She's been training for the better part of a week. Available for selection today off the bench.
And here's the balance in substitutions, right? You want to give them enough time, enough runway left in the game to find a bit of a rhythm. You don't want to make that change too late.
Right now we're at 70th minute, now into the 71st. With Kansas City up on a 2-1 score. Your goal scorers are Dabinia and Bia for Kansas City, one in each half. Gomes scored the goal for Chicago. And it's really changed the game. Chicago's been on more on the front foot since that happened, but another reason could be the changes that Kansas City made.
There's been willingness, though, from Chicago to step out a little bit more from their defensive structure. But, JP, I think that starts first and foremost with the comfort level, the change in comfort level we've seen on the ball from Chicago. They're a bit more comfortable dealing with the pressure of this Kansas City side, and they're finding their outlets consistently.
Great job by Ludmila to get it inside. What a play that was. Had Gomes connected, would have been her second goal. Nice cross, nice idea. We saw Chicago getting ready to look like a couple of changes. 72nd minute. I mentioned before, 4 coaches on this team, Ella Macer being one of them as an interim. And a lot of the good work was done under Macer's direction before this new coach had come in, this interim coach Jakobsen. Maitane. That one's blocked. Cleared away by Kansas City. Chicago was down by 2. They've cut it to within 1. We see 2 subs are up. Chacon is one of them. Jamise Joseph is the other. She has been a starter for them.
She's had to deal with a bit of injuries, right? And it's a balance of rehabbing and making sure that you put a player in the best position to succeed.
Here's Shawinga looking to succeed as well. Shawinga on the right foot, and she scores again. The Golden Boot leader has another. It's her 14th. And that one, Marion, you could say against the run of play.
Absolutely. And it's really been Izzy Rodriguez. When we talk about these changes tactically, the things that we're expecting to see, Izzy Rodriguez's insertion into this match has changed the game completely from a tactical perspective, and it's actually her higher positioning that allows for this all to be started. And the explosion of space from Timwa Shawinga. She knows the space that she wants to exploit, and it's the timing of the run, the body positioning that completely negates the run of the recovery defender. And then it's just about timing, and it's about quick release. The tempo is what Kansas City Current is known for. The tempo is what Timwa Shawinga brings, not only with her runs, but with her decision-making ability. Alyssa Nair, she's struggling with all the traffic in front of her, and absolutely against the run of play, JP. Timwa Shawinga gives her goal back, gives her team back the 2-goal lead.
She has not had a 2-goal game all year, so she scored in 14 different games. They are 14-0-0 when she has scored. Subs have happened while we were on replay, so we know that Jamise Joseph is in. Chacon is also in. We'll get to the subs, B. Franklin being one of them to come out. Schlegel, right to goal. And Gomes was the other. It's got to be frustrating if you're Chicago. You are coming back.
Oh, no doubt.
You are looking like the better team at that point, and then the player that you know you have to watch the entire night, who didn't really do much tonight. Granted, she had the assist on the Bia goal, but now she makes it another 2-goal lead. Shawinga leaves it off. Rodriguez holds. End line. Try to cross it. They're in double digits with corners.
One of the things that makes this Kansas City side so scary when you look about what they've accomplished is exactly what you were just alluding to, JP. There have been teams that play them in all kinds of different ways. They have seen all kinds of different strategies throughout this 2025 season as teams try and figure out ways to defeat them. But every single time, they have figured out a way to exploit the game plan of the opposition. And this is exactly what they've done here in the second half.
On that corner, headed away. Chase for the ball. That is Chacon. We're going to catch up to this ball, and she does. Had to wait for her visa application to be cleared. She was signed earlier, but it's finally available. It's a good addition this late in the season.
And it's good to have that foundational block, such a key piece to what could be their foundation in the future.
Schlegel holds, try to slip it through to Ludmila, and she could only hit side netting. Well, if this result stands, Chicago is officially eliminated, and Kansas City just sets more records with their 18th win, which would be a club record. Schlegel is down in some distress. They still have 3 subs if they want, whereas Kansas City is done.
I think that's exactly the balance that we're finding with ourselves as Gotham has added another goal to their lead. But that's really the balance that Chicago is in right now. It's a really interesting place because they had to win tonight to keep their playoff hopes alive. That's a tall ask against this Kansas City side, who we're all trying to say is going to be one of, if not the best NWSL team we've ever seen. And so you have to come at this game with some realistic expectations. And Anders Jakobsen has been very transparent with us that the project is already underway. We are not necessarily looking at these matches as a must get into the playoff scenario. Sure, we want to keep our season alive as long as possible, but more than that, it's about small improvements in the foundational pieces that we're trying to build for next season. And so while there are some tactical things that I think could have been done better in terms of match specifics, from a foundational piece, I think these late substitutes and just the general response and character that you're seeing from Chicago is of the utmost importance. They have shown Anders Jakobsen what their character is and their ability to respond, something that a lot of teams haven't been able to do against Kansas City. But now we're also seeing some introduction of new relationships, especially into the attacking third. And Ali Schlegel has been a player. Ludmila, impressive. Nadia Gomes, impressive, but I think Ali Schlegel has had a lot of unsung hero moments here tonight for this Chicago Stars side.
She's been very good tonight. One thing Chicago knows, Jakobsen will be around next year. He'll be the assistant coach, so you are playing for what you would assume is a spot on next year's squad, whether it's a depth piece, whether it's a starting 11 spot. And Jakobsen is always in touch with Martin Sjögren, who's watching games, not live because of the time difference in Sweden, but he is watching games. So you want to impress a guy that's going to have some influence on next year's roster.
You also have to think about what this does from a culture perspective. Depending on how the players in that locker room handle this really tough season could actually be a catalyst in a very positive way for their culture next year. And so you want to continue to see the response. You want to continue to see the camaraderie, because you can use that kind of team chemistry to your advantage in the next season.
High up is Rodriguez. Sending one in. That's off Staub. Corner, Kansas City. Chicago is also going to have a new home, at least for next year, on the campus of Northwestern University, where they played a game earlier this year and really had their best single game crowd of the season. '80th minute, a 3-1 lead for Kansas City. Ali Sentner, who started last week, off the bench today. U.S. national team member is ready. Puts one toward the middle. Intended for Feist. Chacon won that one in the air. It's going to be ruled a corner again for the Current. A 3-1 lead. They've got their 2-goal margin back. Looking for their 18th win. Only thing they've lost so far tonight is that scoreless streak. The shutout streak ended at 869 minutes and 9 consecutive shutouts. They wouldn't get it to 10. Izzy Rodriguez set again. Driven ball to the middle. Headed straight up. Second ball brought down by Labonta. Then long. Labonta again. Wide of a diving Nair who was in full stretch.
I was about to say, is it really a Kansas City Current game without a few low Labonta theatrics?
No celebrations yet, right? If she scores, you'll see one for sure. 81st minute, Kansas City with a 3-1 lead over Chicago. Your goal scorers, Debinha, Bia, and Shawinga. Gomes for Chicago. They were making a game out of it.
And you just saw a picture of their equipment manager, Angelina De Dolce. They call her Dolce. Thought it was really interesting to hear from Vlatko that, you know, after every home game, he goes and gets ice cream with his family, and then he goes back into the office and he watches the tape. And the equipment manager and her team, Angelina De Dolce, they were there. They were doing laundry, as they do. And he said, guys, don't worry about that. We can actually take a moment to rest. Come back, do it tomorrow. And she actually went up to him and said, this is not the time to take our foot off the gas. This is the time where we have to step up and make sure that everything is perfect. I thought that was such a wonderful representation of this organization and really what's been the catalyst for their success. It's been this idea that no one is bigger than the actual mission. And the equipment manager can go into the head coach and say, hey, I don't agree with this mentality. This is not what we're about. And that's actually what has led, that intrinsic motivation has led to so much success.
This is Setner, went near post and almost beat Nair. It's not easy to do. Throwing again for Kansas City, 82nd minute. They rarely lose in this stadium. They only lost once last year. That was to Orlando last summer, when Orlando was setting all kinds of records that Kansas City has eclipsed. Ball's pass, claims she got fouled. And the whistle has blown. 83rd minute of a Kansas City 3-1 lead over Chicago. A result that will eliminate officially Chicago from the playoff chase. The team that's right above Chicago is Utah. We will see them play Bay tomorrow in a televised game on Ion. And Bay FC has struggled this year, but Utah is playing their best soccer all season. It's interesting that both Utah and Chicago, the two last place teams, are playing their very best since the international break.
This may be an unpopular opinion. I personally love a team that can play spoiler down the stretch. It keeps things interesting. And there have been a couple of teams, when we look at, before the international break, we look at after the international break, it was hard to say that anybody was really playing their best soccer. But there were a couple teams like a Houston, like a Utah, like Chicago even, who you were seeing progress match in, match out. And that progression and them taking away some points from key teams has actually been what's made the middle part of the table so interesting and so tight.
At the start of the night, it was 38 points that separated these two teams in the standings. So you would not expect a good game, but we had one tonight. Chicago has given them everything. Ball deflected out of play. It's a throw in for Kansas City. And again, they'll work the clock. No need to rush here. Ava Cook will come in, replacing Cameron Bigelski as another Chicago change. It's the 9th game for Cook this year. All off the bench. 3rd change made by Chicago.
And I know we don't have a lot of time left to actually see it, but it's a pretty terrifying front three when you look at the insertion of the recent substitutes. You've got Chacon playing as the central striker. You've got Jamise Joseph to her left. You've got Ludmila to the right. So they've got the talent. They've got the tools, this Chicago Star side, to really be dangerous.
Chacon doubled up. Left it there for Cook. Battle for the ball. Won by Setner. Knocked away from her. Stop. Hendrick. 86th minute. Pretty fast-moving game. No real injuries to speak of or video review. So we had 1 minute of stoppage time in the first half and probably not expecting much in the second, other than for the substitutions.
It's been a really well-rounded match. We've seen a lot of good tactical moments. We've seen some adjustments. We've seen personnel changes. Substitutes really have an impact. And we've also seen some really good team goals, and we've seen some really brilliant individual goals. It's been a very entertaining 86 minutes so far.
So far, controversy-free, I would say, as Cook tries to clear it. Pfeiffer tried to bring it down. Instead, it's into the arms of Nair.
And we've seen some records being broken. We've seen some records being set. Always makes for a good night.
Cook leaves it off. Staub under pressure. Back for Nair. Pushing it right. Maitane's pass into the middle. Intended for Joseph. That's cut off. Setner holding. Waits for the help. It's Feist. Shawinga on her own at the moment. Has the support there. Back for Labonta. Nicely brought down by Rodriguez. In for Shawinga. And the flag's up. Kansas City doesn't play again until Monday, October the 6th. That's at Angel City. Next Sunday, Chicago will be visiting, or they'll be at home, I should say, versus Utah. I wonder what Chicago will do with their lineup. They'll probably try to get Chacon more minutes next week, but here's our match summary and all of the numbers in favor of Kansas City. 22 shots. Give credit to Chicago, though. Only the 10 shots, but 5 of them were on target.
And I would argue that really outside the 2 goals in the second half, there weren't that many clear-cut opportunities for Kansas City on the attacking side of the ball.
Chicago gave a good account of themselves tonight.
Yep.
Pfeiffer, Shawinga. Maitane got a piece of the ball. Schlegel got the rest. Staub. Hendrick. Katrin Hendrick in the circle. Now tries the long ball, or longer ball, but it's blocked and cleared out by Wheeler. Feist went down trying to win it. Played off by Joseph. Schlegel fires, that's blocked as well. Comes all the way back out. Sent across by Hendrick. Touch up for Joseph. Gets to the end line. Try to play it across. Lorena's got it.
That was all around a really nice spell of attacking possession from Chicago Stars. One of the first principles that Anders Jakobsen brought into this team was actually the passing distance between players. He wanted it to be closer, so the completion percentage from a passing perspective got higher and higher, and that meant that they could spend more time on the ball, which in his data research directly correlates to more wins in a season. And so that was a really good look at what I think we're going to see a lot more from Chicago, not only in these last few matches of the 2025 season, but so much more to come in 2026 when they have an entire preseason to work on those principles at length.
Back to the feet of Alyssa Nair. Hendrick, almost at 90 minutes. 3-1, Kansas City over Chicago. Joseph's on the run, has help. Mila made a run. Played across, and Lorena won't spill that. We are at 90. We'll go another 5 minimum. And those will be for all the subs that were made. First minute of stoppage time. Sentnor on the ball from Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer's on the chase on the right side. Cut off by Cook. He plays it back. Nair up the wing, turned over. Labonta. All the way up for Rodriguez, getting closer to the 18. They don't need more goals. They'll just keep possession if they can. Feist, across the way. Stiegletter. Feist. Labonta. Shawinga brought it down, and then the shot was wide. Sentner had a go at it.
I truly have no idea how Lola Labonta threaded that pass that actually landed on Timothée Shawinga's feet. Look at the cheekiness of that. And that's no mistake by Timothée Shawinga. That wasn't a missed touch. She knew that Ali Sentnor was right there, just tried to help it on.
In that collision, Schwinga finds the ball. Labonta. On the dribble, it's Pfeiffer. On the left foot, wide. Nair will put it back into play slowly. Pfeiffer's just 17 years of age, a USA under-17 international. Staub up the middle. Third minute of stoppage time. Denied by Kansas City. Staub won it back. Sam Staub goes to the left. Ball played ahead by Maitane. And now out for a throw-in for Chicago. We're halfway through with stoppage time. It's going to be Kansas City's throw-in. Wheeler will take it.
JP, you've covered this league for a really long time, and you've gotten to see a lot of great talent, a lot of great teams. Do you think it is crazy to have the conversation that this is potentially the best NWSL team?
Not crazy at all. No. I think we were having that conversation last year about Orlando, but I think this is one step better. But of course, we'll see, right, how the playoffs go.
Playoffs are always an interesting.
They want to win it. Here's Long at the other end. Holding. Outside for Sendor. Izzy Rodriguez. Oh, that's wide. Pfeiffer, 1v1. Wants the shot. Oop, taken down, penalty. Well, this game may end with an exclamation point. We'll see. And it could be history, too, if Labonta takes it. Which we assume she would. Yellow card on Cook. Penalty kick opportunity. There was no hesitation in pointing to the spot.
None at all. And I love the confidence, not only from Alex Pfeiffer in this moment, but from her teammates. They left her alone in isolation, and they said, all right, you have a go at it, and you see if you can't make something happen, as she is starting to get more and more minutes, and what an impactful play she makes as a substitute.
So it's Labonta, career 13 of 14 on penalty kicks. She could tie Megan Rapinoe if she makes this. She's 4 for 4 this year. Labonta versus Alyssa Nair. And Labonta scores 4-1 Kansas City. That really does put an exclamation point on this game. Labonta in the NWSL record book tying the great Megan Rapinoe. She's only missed once against San Diego. Kaylin Sheridan back in 2022 who made the save.
And it's just the little hip hesitation. It was really her left foot that makes you think she might go over to Alyssa Nair's guessing side, the right side, but her last second ability to open the hips, hit it near post, really well done. I told you we were making history in this match. Felt like every single thing that Kansas City does added to the record book.
Chicago not flattering this score line because they played better than this score will read.
Couldn't agree more. I think the scoreline is quite unfortunate for the performance that the Chicago Stars put out. I think if you're a Chicago Stars fan, you have to be encouraged with the buy-in you saw, not only to the principals, but to the response. They did something that not a lot of teams can say this season. They put one up against Kansas City Current, who's arguably not only the best all-around starting 11, the best all-around roster. They've got game changers. They've got players you can put in match-specific moments that can unlock certain areas of the field, and they have got players who the pressure never seems to amount to too much.
Another amazing night in Kansas City as the Current get the win. 4-1 is the final score tonight. Another night of history in Kansas City. We're coming back with another segment. We'll highlight some more when we return.